I tried ampsim plugins back in the early 2000s, and I didn't get a whole lot of joy. Pretty much gave up on them. Now, more recently, I tried using the ones that came free with Logic. Significantly better, but still nothing to get really excited about. But technology marches on. And with all the fuss lately over some of the newer plugins by companies like Neural DSP, IK Multimedia, and Universal Audio, I decided it was time to take another look. And wow, things have come a long way. Now, out of all the ampsim packages I looked at, the one which really seemed to have it all for me and what I do is the Universal Audio Paradise Guitar Studio. Now understand, this is not intended to be a full tour of all the features of this plugin. That would be a lengthy presentation, and there's a lot of videos thoroughly covering it. I recommend checking out the video by the man himself, James Santiago of Universal Audio. I'll leave a link to his very comprehensive video in the description. Now, what I'm going to talk about is why I find this plugin so satisfying and useful. So let's get into it. Now, for starters, I couldn't ask for a better selection of amps, given my style and musical direction. They're all very traditional classics. Fenders, Blackface and Tweed, Marshalls, Vox, and Dumbles. These all provide fantastic foundational tones that are simple to dial in, yet capable of almost endless fine-tuning. Now, sure, players into heavier styles might wish for some modern, super high gain options, but for me, these pretty much are the exact amps I'd choose if I had the resources to buy the perfect studio amp collection. Now, plus you can mix and match a huge array of speaker cabs and mics, stomp box and studio effects, on and on. In fact, it's all too easy to spend way more time trying combinations than playing. The Stomp Box assortment included with the Paradise Guitar Studio covers quite a few of the most common pedals on which countless others have been based. Now, obviously, it's handy to have all these different types of drives, modulation, and time-based effects available for crafting tones, but another potential use occurred to me, which seems worth mentioning. Now, say you've never owned a Klon-style pedal or a Nobels ODR1, and you'd be interested to know if one might be useful. Well, normally what you'd do is you'd listen to demos or maybe go down to your local guitar store and try whatever they have. But demos aren't you playing through them, and your local shop may or may not have what you want to test. Or they might frown on you cranking it up to a realistic volume level. With this software, you can set up an amp that closely mimics your own and try out pedals and settings until you find the sound you're looking for. That's pretty handy. Now, do you want an overdrive, a fuzz, or a distortion pedal? And want to see which one will really fit your style? While there are circuits not represented, the selection does cover the major food groups, and that applies to modulation and time-based effects as well. If you're after, say, an analog delay, well, the original Electro-Harmonix Memory Man isn't a bad reference, and that's included here. But how does that compare to an EP3 tape echo? Here you can play them back-to-back and have some idea where you want to start. In the same way, this is perfect for seeing exactly what type of amp suits you're playing. For instance, very few of us will have the opportunity to play through an actual Dumble. But there are excellent Dumble-style amps available these days, and spending time with accurate models of 4 different Dumbles will give you a good idea if a Dumble-inspired amp might be what you're looking for. But of course, the main reason to own a fine plug-in like the Paradise Guitar Studio is to enable us to lay down great sounding tracks. Now, even though I'm barely scratching the surface here, I should at least mention there are presets. About a zillion of them. They seem to be mostly based on famous rock recordings, and I'm sure a lot of you will find them super useful. I don't tend to work that way myself. I pretty much just set up my tone as I would if I were using the physical gear. But a tremendous amount of time must have gone into them, and they'll undoubtedly be great starting points for many users. So bottom line, this is a great way to record guitar, and you'll be hearing quite a bit of it on this channel. Now plus, you can even use it as an inspiring sounding practice rig that can be played at any volume, or through headphones. Of course, at the very least, it requires a computer with an interface and some way to monitor the sound. But whether you just dabble in home recording or work on some serious projects, this will allow you to easily get some really legit sounds. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Now, before I sign off, I'd like to give a shout out to all of my new patrons, whose first names will be appearing on the screen about now. Your support will go a long way toward helping me continue to provide fresh content. And of course, all of you can help the channel continue to grow by simply liking and subscribing. And with that, I will say goodbye for now, and I will see you again very soon.